back with another episode of Local Roots. Hi, I'm Todd Studer. I am wearing my NAMI Southwest Iowa shirt for a reason today because I was recently notified that I've been nominated for a couple of awards from NAMI Southwest Iowa. First off, the company Lost Hills Medium Podcast, which is how I am able to produce this podcast every day, has been nominated for the Community Partner Award, and greatly honored that they have chosen me to be nominated for that. And also, they nominated me personally for the Volunteer of the Year award. So grateful to whoever made that nomination. I don't know who it was, but thank you to NAMI Southwest Iowa for everything that it is that you do, for the service that you provide. Thank you to everyone that supports NAMI Southwest Iowa. You know, when you donate money to that organization, it stays right here in Southwest Iowa. And there is a gala coming up on October 11th, and this is going to be held in Atlantic, Iowa. And I would encourage you to come out and join us. It'll be going on from 5 to 10. And you can go to NAMISouthwestIowa.org to get your tickets to attend. I know that they are always looking for silent auction items and other things that go along with this event. And I'm going to be helping out at that event too. So please, it is coming up again on October 11th in Atlantic. They try to move these around every year because they serve so many counties. I think 9 counties around Southwest Iowa. So they try to have them in different locations. Last year, it was in Oakland, Iowa, and this year it is going to be in Atlantic. So having said all of that, huge thank you to what it is that NAMI Southwest Iowa stands for, and I look forward to being at that event on October 11th. On today's show, we are going to learn a little bit more about insurance from Travis Castle. He is the owner, operator, president, and all-around great guy with Castle & Associates American Family Insurance. We talk about him a lot here on the show, and we're going to do a deeper dive into life insurance. One thing I've always appreciated about Travis is he looks as his number one job is to educate. Obviously, yeah, he wants to sell insurance. I get that, but that's not what his focus is. His focus is making sure that you are protected. And he talks about it in the conversation that even if you don't use him, you need to be thinking about why life insurance is so important. And he's going to tell you some reasons why he has firsthand knowledge of that. So that's coming up on today's show. You know, if you're looking for all natural health solutions right here in Southwest Iowa, visit Bambi's Green Acres Natural Market in Council Bluffs, serving our community since 1997. You can shop a wide selection of vitamins, supplements, essential oils, herbal remedies, and it's staffed with over 37 years of experience. Bambi's helps you reach your health goals. You'll find them at 805 South Main Street in Council Bluffs, and explore your wellness options online at bambisgreenacres.com. Bambi's Green Acres Natural Market, putting health in your hands. And if you're looking to buy or sell a home in Council Bluffs, turn to Blake Hunter, your trusted realtor with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. Blake knows the local market and is dedicated to helping you find the perfect place to call home. He also hosts a popular podcast called Hunting Home, where he shares insight, tips, and the latest trends in real estate. So whether you're a first-time buyer, upgrading, or are you ready to sell, Blake Hunter is here to guide you every step of the way. Visit his website, blakehunter.homes, and start hunting for your dream home with confidence. Time for another peek into the insurance industry with Travis Castle, Castle & Associates American Family Insurance. Thank you so much, Travis, for jumping back on again. It's always great to talk to you. It's always great to see you in blue. We did. This wasn't planned, by the way. We just both happened to wear it. But how's everything going? I know that has it been a little easier this year with storms, or a little worse? I know that it's been interesting. I mean, last year was just horrible. So yeah, knock on wood. Yeah.
Right now, Todd, I am knocking on wood. So far, so good. The storm season has been a little less aggressive than it was in the past, and so it gives everybody a little bit of a chance to exhale and hopefully that some of that reduction in storms that we've had so far this year will will help settle down the rate increases that we're seeing across the board, and things of that nature as well. So, yep, it's certainly been so far so good. But usually when you get to the fall, it lessens up a little bit. But there was not last year, but the year before, we had some December hailstorms in the
Yeah.
Midwest, surprisingly, and wind and hail. The Blair area did get some heavy winds a couple weeks ago, and it looks almost like Ireland out there in the Council Bluffs area because it's so green. We've had such great rains, and our grass is green and the hills are green and it looks beautiful. So
Yeah, it was like a strange straight line wind storm that came through and just affected a certain small
yeah,
area. And
yeah.
so that was definitely an issue. And I know that when people come and talk to you, oftentimes it is about property and casualty. I mean, you're looking at home insurance, you're looking at car insurance, but you guys have other services there too. I mean, such as, life insurance that is you're talking with people every chance you get about that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. One of the things that we like to pride ourselves on here at Castle and Associates of American Family is just the well-rounded one-stop shop that you get with us. And obviously we specialize in home and auto insurance. We really focus on the umbrella policy as well and making sure you have your liability coverage in place so that if you get sued in this sue happy society that we live in, you can cover yourselves by making sure you have a good umbrella policy as well. So that personal line side is really important. We have a specialization in commercial insurance also. We do a number of rental properties all the way up to multifamily complexes on the business side, along with small business as well. I like to pride ourselves if it goes into a shopping center or a strip mall, we can insure it from a business standpoint as well. And then we have a great farm division. Actually, American Family Insurance started in 1927. Their founder, Harold Whitwer, he was a farmer and he started farm insurance. And he started by insuring farmers' cars because they only drove them 6 months out of the year. And they put them away. He's based in Wisconsin. And so originally, and when cars first came out, they couldn't drive them during the harsh winters of Wisconsin, and so people would put their cars away in the barn, and so it was a good risk analysis for him when he started the insurance company, and by only insuring cars at the original onset of American Family, and back then we were called Farmers Insurance, Farmers Mutual. And then in the 70s, American Family changed their name to American Family Insurance to be more branded in a way that went beyond farms. So we have a great personal lines, we have a great business line, we have great farm lines as well. So we do a lot of farm insurance. But you had mentioned it also. We really pride ourselves on life insurance. Also, we talk about it the fact that it's one of the most important or the most important policy that we sell. In the fact that you just don't know when tragedy is going to strike. And when you lose somebody in your family, if they don't have the proper life insurance in place, it can really be detrimental to the people that are left behind from that standpoint. And so that's something we pride ourselves on. We spend a lot of time making the life insurance easy and simple and make it make sense for people.
I think that we can sometimes get lost in not understanding that there's a difference between planning for something and expecting it.
Yeah.
Because none of us expect it.
Right.
But we still need to plan for it because of tragedy is not an inevitability, but it's still a possibility.
Yes.
And that's the type of thing that you want to make sure your family's taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we really try to promote with our customers is that you just don't know what's there, what's going to happen in the future. I told you a little bit of the story before, Todd, about I come from a family of six. There's 5 or 6 Castle kids, and my mom and my dad were good old Catholic family that had 6 kids in about a stretch of about a 10-year or 12-year period. And we grew up, my dad owned a Skelly gas station in Mapleton, Iowa, and he also was an entrepreneur. He went out and he bought a Yamaha and Suzuki motorcycle shop. And in the process of doing that, I had a great life. I grew up pumping gas when I was 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. And then when my dad bought the motorcycle shop, we were always big motorcycle enthusiasts. We loved riding dirt bikes, and my goal was to be a motocross racer. That's all I wanted to do when I was a young kid. Was just to get on my dirt bike and just ride fast. That was always something that was fun to do. We had a tragedy in our family when I was 11. My dad was actually killed on a motorcycle, and he was out test driving a motorcycle and crashed it, which led to him being in the hospital for 6 weeks and then inevitably passed away. But if I rewind the clock and look at that with the value of life insurance and how that impacted our family, it is really, really impactful. And I'm telling a lot of people the story right now, but I
Right.
haven't told the story a lot. My mom was raised by her mom and her Uncle Joe was who raised my mom and her two sisters. And in 1980, in November of 1980, my Uncle Joe was killed in a tractor accident. And my mom looked at my dad and said, Bill, you've got 6 kids, 2 businesses, and you don't have any life insurance. You need to go get some life insurance. And that was during the holidays, right? And what family of 6 is going to go buy life insurance during the holidays? And my dad was
Right.
looking at spending money on other things besides life insurance. So he told my mom, yeah, I'll get that life insurance. I'll get that life insurance. And it went through the holidays and he didn't get it. Finally, first of the year, she kept pushing him, hey, Bill, you need to get life insurance. And so my dad had a buddy who actually sold life insurance. And so my mom put the pressure on his buddy and said, hey, get Bill into your office. And so this gentleman did. He drugged my dad into his office and said, let's just get a policy. And they put a policy on him. And that was back in 1981. So that was no computers. It was all handwritten, sent in the applications. And the wheels of life insurance turned really slow at that time because you had to do an application and you had to make a payment and you had to get underwriting done. And thankfully, my dad had jumped through enough of those hoops that he was in a motorcycle accident in mid-March of 1981, and that life insurance policy and the application of that process was all put into place. And so I don't have the exact dates, but my dad was hospitalized from mid-March to May 6th was when we eventually passed. In mid-April is when that life insurance policy was put into place and finalized. And so when he passed away, the policy came back to my mom, who had 6 kids. My oldest sister was a senior, my youngest brother was a kindergartner, and now my dad had left my mom a gift of life insurance that she could then invest, utilize Social Security along with that life insurance proceeds, and put our family in a position to where she didn't have to take on 2 or 3 jobs. We were
Right.
still allowed to be and partake in athletics and not have to get, we all worked, but we all worked around our athletics. It wasn't to where we had to come and provide for the family, because that simple step of that insurance agent dragging my dad into his office and walking through the life insurance process really set our family up. We weren't rich by any means, but we had enough money to make ends meet. And so it's a story that I reflect on a lot, and the fact that it was in 1981, and I still use that. I don't tell the story a lot, but I make sure people understand that, hey, life insurance is important. It's the most important policy you have in your drawer. And that's what happens is it gets purchased, it gets put in a drawer, and it's there for if in case something tragic happens, like happened with my family growing up. And so we're very passionate about it in our office. We're very passionate about keeping it simple, and educating people and advising people on how we provide life insurance and what we provide for people. And I tell people all the time, I don't care whether you have life insurance with me or whether you have it with someone else. I just want to make sure that you have it. And I want to make sure you have it, and I want to make sure that you have enough of it to be in place to take care of your family if something happens. And so something we take great pride in, and certainly make sure we ask all of our customers about.
Oftentimes when people are employed and life insurance is like one of those benefits. There's a lot of times you don't even have to pay for it through your job. It's just something that comes along with it.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't think that it's typically not as much as a person thinks it is, or it's just not going to go as far as they think it will.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Todd. And we hear that objection a lot. So whenever you bring up life insurance, probably the number one answer we get is, "Oh, I have it at work." And that's fine. We absolutely want you to take advantage of the life insurance policy you have at work. It is a benefit, just like your retirement is your benefit, your health insurance is your benefit, your PTO is a benefit. All of those are benefits, and some job opportunities offer life insurance within it. What I encourage people to do is to own their own policy. And I tell them all the time, I said that life insurance policy you have at work is great, but it is temporary. And they're like, "Well, what do you mean temporary?" I'm like, "Well, it being a benefit, when you leave your job, will you get to take your health insurance with you?" Nope. And will you get to take your PTO with you?
Mm-hmm.
You won't get to take those benefits with you. Life insurance falls in the same boat. 90% of the employers that I know provide life insurance as a benefit while you're working there. Once you leave there, that life insurance doesn't go with you. Now, I do have people ask the question. Go back and ask your HR people, "Hey, if I leave, retire, or go find a different job, can I bring this life insurance with me?" Very few companies allow that. And if they do allow that, then, for instance, if you retire, can I continue to keep my life insurance policy? I ask people to ask their HR representative how that life insurance is underwritten at the time when you leave. So let's say that I'm working somewhere and I worked there for 20 years. I'm going to retire and I'm going to take my life insurance with me. Now I'm 65 years old. What happens is, if that life insurance could possibly go with you, it's going to now have to be underwritten because it's not a part of a group plan. It's an individual plan.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be underwritten for the age that you are. And God forbid that you had to leave work because of an illness, because that life insurance, if it doesn't go with you and you can't buy into it because of a pre-existing condition, when you go to your life insurance specialist and ask them for a policy because I had to leave work and I lost my life insurance and I had to leave because I have an illness, now you don't own that policy. And so not owning that policy gets you in a position where you have a pre-existing condition and now maybe you won't be able to get life insurance. So I tell people all the time, stuff at work is absolutely great, but you need to have a policy that you own and you control. And that's what we talk a lot about with the life insurance. The other question, to the point that you made, Todd, was, is it enough? A lot of times you'll see $10,000 or you see $25,000 or you might see 1 year of income. Okay. And if you make $75,000, is $75,000 enough to take care of your entire family for however many years you still have to raise kids and get them to dance and get them to sporting events and those types of things? Is that really enough? So we evaluate, is it permanent? If it is permanent, how is it going to be priced when you leave the job? And also, how much is it, and is it enough for what your family needs right now? Those are some things that we talk to people about who say, "I have it at work, I don't need it with you." And do you own your own policy? Is a really big question.
What about the type of life insurance? I mean, I can remember back when I was young and you'd see the commercials on TV all the time for term life or whole life. I think that's what they used to call it. So is that still where is just the two different types? Is that still where things are?
Yeah, I'll correct you a little bit. So one is term. So there is that. I look at it, and there are a lot of different rabbit holes that you can go down to from a life standpoint, but let's keep it really simple. Okay. We can get very complex with it. We have the capabilities. American Families Life Insurance Company is one of the strongest in the country, and we can get very complex. But to keep it simple, very similar to what the gentleman did with my dad prior to his accident. He kept it simple. We had something, and something was better than nothing. There, on the surface, there's really two types of life insurance policies that fit 95% of the of Americans. And one of them is term, and that term policy is just that. It's for a specific period of time, and the other one is permanent. Now, permanent tends to have a lot of different names to it. It could be whole life, it could be universal life, it could be variable universal life. It has multiple aspects and multiple types of permanent insurance.
Okay.
Let's talk term real quick, first of all. Term insurance is just that. It's for a specific period of time that you lock your rate in, and that rate is locked in for that specific period of time. Like, for instance, you do a 20-year term. So if I did a 20-year, $150,000 term policy, I'm going to have locked that rate in, and let's say that they rate me for my health and my current height and weight and whether I am a tobacco user or a non-tobacco user. We do all of that underwriting for you, and that term policy is then priced. So you're a 35-year-old male, it's a 20-year term. That policy is going to be in place from when you're 35 for the next 20 years, and you're going to pay the same price every month or every year up until you're age 55. At age 55, the policy does not expire, but it changes from a 20-year term to an annual renewable term. And that policy then increases annually every year according to your age. And
Okay.
a lot of times those policies, you're much better at that time to have an advisor like us that says, hey, Todd, you're within 3 years of your 20-year term expiring. Let's talk about what's next. Because we wrote this one when we were 35. And when you were 35, you might have had certain debt and you might have had certain things that you wanted to cover with your life insurance. Well, now you're 52. You're 3 years from that term policy expiring for all intents and purposes, or at least increasing in price. Let's look and see what is next with your life insurance journey. What do you want to do next? And so it might be, hey, just want another 20-year term to get me from 52 to 72. It might be, hey, I want to have something permanent, so I make sure that when I pass away, something's in place. And so the term policies are great. Fun fact, give me a percentage that you think, how many term policies, because the only way you cash in a term policy is if you die. How many term policies in the United States are cashed in before they get to that expiration date? What percent?
I would expect it to be a lower percent, just from my internal logic and I don't know, but I'm pulling a number here, 15%. That's just a number I'm pulling.
That's a good guess. It's less than 10%. We see between 4 and 8% of term policies ever being cashed in. And so I think those policies are really important. I have a mixture of term and permanent policies on myself because I have a term policy, and those policies are really important because they are the least expensive. And so we buy large term policies while you have the most people relying on you. Okay. You have a wife, you have kids, you have a mortgage, you have dance class, as I mentioned, you have little league sports, you have travel, you have utility bills, you have all those things that when you're younger in your younger years and you have all that responsibility, we might put a large term policy on you that's going to expire maybe when your youngest child is 30 years old or 25 years old, and hopefully by that time they're off the payroll, but you plan out in that way. But then the other thing that's really important is that permanent piece. As you said, what are the types of life insurance? The second type is permanent insurance, and it can be a whole life policy or a universal life policy. And there's a number of others that you can look at as well. The permanent piece of life insurance is one that goes in place for you at your current age, and it lasts until traditionally age 120 or death, whichever comes first. Okay. So once again, it's permanent. It's built and it's structured in a way that it will always be in place. And so that permanent policy is also one that traditionally will develop cash value. And cash value is the annual dividends that the life insurance company will put back into that policy. And so if you think about it, you're going through a permanent policy and you get 20 years into a permanent policy, you might have $10,000 in cash value there. You might have $100,000 worth of death benefit as well, but you have some cash in there. I call it like a forced savings account, right? you can do things with that cash value, such as borrow it, utilize it for maybe some expenses that you have, or a project that you have, or a trip that you're going to have. If you pay it back, or when you pay it back, it'll go back with interest, and that interest will also go back to refeeding that cash value. And so permanent policies are a great tool to use as a part of your portfolio. It's going to be a one aspect of your portfolio that always makes sure that you have some life insurance in place no matter how long you live. And that's really important for us to point out to people.
When you sit down with someone to have this conversation, and I'm sure that oftentimes it's the beginning of the conversation, you got a lot to learn. Mm-hmm. Can it be done in one sitting? Because everything that you're saying to me says we should probably meet a couple of times in order to make sure that you have all of the information you need to make the right recommendations.
Yeah, it's a great point. And in our agency, we are very advisory and educational. And I use those two words a lot because we do want to educate you. We want you to be comfortable. But I'm telling you what we're fighting against in the life insurance industry. It's what you hear on the radio every day. Get a policy. I'm a 45-year-old male that's on medication, and mm-hmm. I've got a policy for this amount, $150,000 death benefit, and I only pay $25 a month. And it's also easy to apply. And so what American Family Insurance has done is we are trying to really cover all areas of life insurance and how the customer wants to buy that life insurance. We have easy, simple policies that can go in place with a phone call. That policy, our easy, simple term policies are ones that we can have a 20-minute conversation, a 10-minute conversation, depending upon how much research you've done. If somebody calls me up and says, Travis, I want a 20-year term for $250,000, I'll talk about that with them. But if they're adamant about this is what I want, this is what I need, we are able to provide that. I do give them context. I do give them education behind that, but we're very easy. We can provide very easy, simple solutions for people, just like you hear about them talking about on the radio. We also will do just what you asked. We want to be an advisor for you. We want to be in this for the long play. And so I would love to sit down with people and talk about what their current portfolio looks like from a life insurance standpoint. How much do you have? When's it going to expire? Do you own it, or is it that policy at work? And we can sit down and then also, how much do you need? How much life insurance there's a needs analysis process that we go through and ask some very simple questions. And that can happen in a one-to-one setting. You, your spouse, and or any one of my team members can sit down with you, and we will step you through the process and advise you about what does your entire portfolio look like. What does it look like to buy that first life insurance policy, maybe as a young 22-year-old, and then all the way up to what's it look like when I'm 55, 65 years old, and how does that policy carry me through the rest of my life? And so we like to be educational, we like to be advisory, but we can sell life insurance in many different ways.
Well, this is all great information, and to me, it just kind of feels like a starting point.
Yeah,
that you could dive so much deeper into all of this, and that is why setting an appointment and getting into talk with a professional such as yourself or somebody on your team, that it's critical. You are living proof that these have to be there in order to make sure that your family's taken care of.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for you just passing on this information to us. And I think that we should probably talk again about it. And because I got 1,000 questions. So
put it on another docket.
Yeah, I think so. But again, Travis Castle, Castle and Associates, American Family Insurance, thank you for your time. Thank you for the information, and thank you for your dedication to, because like you said, you want to inform and teach and make sure that people understand, even if they're not using you still want them to have the information. And that
every life insurance, I just want you to have it and have enough of it to take care of your family.
Perfect. Well, thanks again. And we look forward to talking with you again really soon.
Thanks, Todd.
I look forward to getting Travis Castle on the show every time that we can, and we've got a lot more information still to bring you, so look for future episodes, and we'll have Travis back again really soon. Do you or does someone you love need in-home care? Home Care Advocacy Network can help you maintain your own privacy in your own space while still receiving care and support with a personalized touch. Aging in place can be critical for many people. Home Care Advocacy Network can meet those needs with an understanding that assisted living is best at home. HCAN of Southwest Iowa brings the personal touch to care. Visit hcan.com/Southwest Iowa to learn more. And if you have a leak, a clogged drain, or planning a big remodel, Waldstein Plumbing in Council Bluffs has you covered. Fast, reliable service, expert craftsmanship, handling everything from small repairs to major installations. They are locally owned and trusted and take pride in doing the job right the first time. Residential or commercial, big or small, when plumbing problems strike, call Waldstein Plumbing. Visit them online at waldsteinplumbing.com. Also, don't forget to log into YouTube to watch their podcast called Circle of Trades. Wrapping things up for today. Thank you so much for being a part of things. We've made it all the way to the middle of the week. It is Wednesday, and I have a busy day planned. Make yours a successful one. My name's Todd Studer. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.